Speak. Akaviri, forged in a dragonland, did a sword and armor of the blades, sworn to the service of the true emperor. But know this, my sword serves no one. You could be Tiber Septim reborn, and I'll still send you back to the divines with your head in your arms. You think on who they were, and not who they are. The Blades are a group of bandits, rogues and traitors. Most of all, they are fools. Fools who couldn't see past their own weakness. Like parasites who cling to the lion's mane. The weak must ally with the strong, and pray they aren't flicked off by the stroke of its tongue. It makes no difference whether this Titus Mead is of dragon blood or skeever, just that his army stands between them and the executioner's axe. If the Blades weren't fools, they would measure their emperors by where they seat their Thalmor guests, at the table or on a pike. True. The one I killed to gain this armor was indeed a blade, a master of the dual sword technique, and my mentor. He was a man of 40 years, and I no older than a dozen. When I first bested him in single combat, yet he was still my better, and our bodies would never be at an age where I could prove otherwise. At 16, my mentor had exhausted his use to me in terms of body. I would have granted him death right then, if not for the secrets his mind guarded. The Way of the Nine. Stances and techniques derived from the teachings of the divines. That was his legacy, and his gift to me, his only pupil. But only when I was ready. A phrase thrown around by masters of all disciplines who wish to teach their pupils the value of patience. What I wasn't ready for, and never would be, was religious nonsense with which he dressed the art of the kill. Now as I enter my prime, I search for the lesson that escaped into the void when we last crossed our blades. Fool, your words display the emptiness of your mind. It was my mentor himself who stated the stance of Arche was one passed on through death. Yet it's possible, as Arche governs life and death, that it was a test of one's scruples, and in killing him, the technique is lost to eternity. Yet if I hadn't struck the killing blow, then I myself would be lost to the void, and that's a trade only imbeciles like you would find worthy. You will understand little of what I speak, and much of it is of no practical use, but facile metaphors tossed around by dying man. But I will enjoy watching your brow twitch in confusion as I pass his words on to you. Take, for instance, Debella, the god of beauty. Fool, the stance of Arche is the very heart of the dual sword technique. Life and death, ice and fire. The nature of all things are born of two. This duality applies to both life and battle. When a mortal kills a foe, in that instant, Arche grants death to one and life to the other. Or so the priestly ones will tell you. Yet the true duality lies not in the dirt and stars, but in how the blade serves as both sword and shield. twin moons, one sky. Each blade shifts from offense to defense, a mirror reflection of the other, and the opponent knows not where to strike. Yet as it is not a single stance, but a motion that adapts to its opponent, it has proved as impenetrable in theory as it is in practice. It snowed that night when it should have rained. My mentor looked at the sky and said Kynareth was all out of tears. And I said, Kynareth does not cry for fools. We drew our swords and dashed through the trees, our feet rapping against the snow. The night before I had chosen my stance. While most would use the flurry of Akatosh, the technique is too violent. I could kill my mentor and lose sight of the very thing I sought to learn. And in the spiritual sense, the father does not come before the son. It was the defense of Zenithar that shielded me from his attack. If I saw both his blades as swords and not shields, I could parry, if not kill. Our blades clashed, but made no sound, muffled by the snowstorm. His swords came at me from all directions, but I kept my eyes on his feet, or more precisely, the tracks he left in the snow. There was a pattern there, if only I had more time. To Akatosh, I went for the flurry and the kill. Yet when I saw his blade rise to the block, I hesitated, only to see that very blade run me through. It was then that he revealed the true essence of the technique. I assumed he moved to protect his life, when his stroke came for my death. But the blade missed my heart by the width of a cat's hair. I made no such mistake with his neck. Just like that, it was over. I dropped to my knees and reached for my potion as his body drowned in a cascade of snow. I tossed the half-empty bottle beside his severed head and said he could have the rest. When he didn't respond, I couldn't help but laugh. All of it, the tracks, the blood, and his legacy, washed away in a tide of white. Begone, then.
Да.
Well met, friend. How can I help you?
I'm good, thanks. A whole lot of people have wanted me dead lately, but I think my friend and I will do fine.
Я так понимаю, ты отвлекаешь меня по делу? В нужном месте. Присаживайся.
Hello, friend.
Что слышно в последнее время?
Here, take a look at this. been kind. I thank you.
Hello, friend. Be careful and stay safe.
Let's move faster. The sun is... It's not great for my skin, if you know what I mean.
Those blades are sacred.
Sacred. So dull they can't even shave your beard. This scroll, on the other hand, may point me to what I need.
Curse you, grave robber. Arcay take your soul.
Arcay. Blasted Arcay. 99 fools, life and death, delivered by my blades, and not once has the stance of Arcay shown itself. Do you hear me? You cannot hide from me forever, my mentor. Ah, so the fool comes to dance once more, but it seems I've slain all your partners. Then you are still too late, and too stupid to comprehend why. They are one and the same. Or have you come to sharpen your fangs? In that case, the blades you seek are not here either.
Что это за место?
A sanctuary for the ghosts of the Akavir. My mentor once spoke of it in passing. Now all those ghosts have passed. It seems one of these ghosts was a greedy one. He had 2 legendary blades away where the others would be blind to his duplicity.
Почему ты здесь?
Why else, imbecile? To hunt my old mentor. Yet he continues to elude me, as does his stance. Flattery will not work on me, human. This cat never retracts her claws. One is as light as a feather, and as fast as the arrow it fletches. Its edge doesn't appear to be as fine, but that's deliberate. A light blade with an edge is brittle, and this sword is as sturdy as it is swift. The other is as sharp and as piercing as a confession, heavy for an Akaviri sword, a blade meant to ward off blows and strike with force. Both are life and death incarnate. One knows not which role they play. These are the perfect weapons to slay my mentor once more. Not at all. Speak with your equal. Pat round balls of yarn. I have 2 swords to fetch.
Hey, stay quiet and follow me.
You have arrived at last. Do not be alarmed. This pilgrim gave his body in service to the gods, as was his desire. In their final days, many pilgrims come to sacred crypts such as this one, in hopes of redeeming themselves from a life of sin. They offer their bodies to the ghosts that haunt these halls, so together they may find absolution. I have. Ever since my death, I have been waiting for you to come, waiting for a sign. Then today you enter on the heels of my pupil. This is no coincidence. Truly the gods are great. That is where you are mistaken, young disciple. The gods have a hand in all things, for all things were made by the hands of the gods. You remind me of her. She did not heed the teachings of the divines, and now she pays the price. Forgive me, where are my manners? My name is Garrett. I am Savashni's former master, and steward of the Way of the Nine. It may sound impossible, and to my pupil, that made it so. Still, one who understands how arcane commands life and death knows the two states are nearly identical. However, the gap between us cannot be crossed by one side alone. It requires 2 willing partners to bridge. Who can say? It belonged to the Needs at one point, and the Akavir at another. As such, the ghosts of Akmora and Akavir roam these halls. It is the latter with which my pupil has quarrel. She thinks that facing me once more will afford her a second opportunity to learn the stance of Arcane. Then she very well may end her life and follow me to the void. Such is her determination and her temerity. Yet it is her lack of faith that is her downfall. For the stance of Arcade is based on flow, and that flow is channeled from the spirit of Arcade. The 8 came easily enough. It is the 9th that eludes her, and it is little mystery why. Contrary to her belief, it is not about whether one can overcome their fear of death, nor is it about embracing fear in order to value one's life. If it were derived from such platitudes, no doubt she would have long since mastered it already. No, the stance of Arcade is a technique that requires an understanding of the divines. You see, everything from the air we breathe to the ground under our feet is governed by Arcade's influence. In combat, the rivers of life and death flow into a single current, and only one who yields to Arcade's will can know where they part. Savashni thinks of the religious and the practical as 2 separate blades. At no point did she consider they can be wielded as one. To end the life of my disciple, and to demonstrate to her the power of the divines. To accomplish that, you must endure what she would not. Only through the pilgrimage of the divines can you prove your worth. When you have walked the supplicant's road, then you will be ready to inherit the stance of Arcade. If you side with her, then you may receive the ire of the gods, or perhaps, even worse, their indifference. Yes, life and death, the duality of nature, all is expressed in a fateful battle between master and pupil. This is a road you too must walk, but you do not have to walk it alone. There is a way to hasten the process. It involves receiving the blessing of 8 warriors who embody the spirit of the remaining 8 divines. Together you will be able to see the rivers of life and death flow through your stars, but only as long as the 9 of us are bound to your will. Such is the consequence of shortcuts, but we do not have the time for the long road. First, you must find a brute of Talos, a warrior whose very breath is a declaration of war. Second, the embrace of Mara. Only one who fights for love will burn the embers. Third, the mercy of Stendar. Claim the warrior whose very weapon is forbearance. Fourth, a tear of Kinnereth seeks the one who walks amongst the beasts and gives life to the soil. Fifth, a mind of Julianos. Only one whose intellect is sharp as my blade will pass this test. Sixth, a mark of Debella. Find one whose beauty is profound enough to melt a heart of steel. Seventh, a scale of Zenithar. Seek the aid of one who fights for coin, and tip the scales toward your victory. Lastly, the judge of Akatosh. Only a warrior who claims lordship over the realm of time will light the path. When you have been blessed by 8 who are worthy, and the 8 flames are lit, then I will stand as the 9th. Now go, my young disciple, and keep the gods in your heart.
halt. You approach the vigilant of Stendar. State your business.
Мне нужна твоя помощь.
I apologize, but I cannot and will not abandon the vigilance at this hour. War is upon us. I can only hope that those at the hall have prepared themselves. Then Stendar have mercy upon us all. We came here on rumors that a Dawn Guard was forming, and found scant evidence as to why. Keeper Carset saw no reason to pursue it further. Nevertheless, she sent a few of us to scout the rift. In the event any leads turned up, I was on my way here when I was assaulted by 4 Nightwalkers. I would not be alive if not for a chance encounter with my old Dalmar friend Julrulith. Her magic is still formidable, and her politics still reprehensible. Thankfully, on that day, I only needed one. Then you must look elsewhere. I make no bargains. If you truly wish to lend a hand, then commit yourself to the Order. Only then can...
Стой! Мы знаем, что у тебя есть артефакт Даэдра. Отдай его нам.
Vigilance!
Burn them all to dust!
Вот ты где! Все, больше ничего не умеешь! Пора кончать! Твой бой уже проигран!
Не страшно умирать.
Я бросаю твои останки! Нет!
Давай, давай! Победа за тобой! Я сдаюсь!
You fought valiantly, adventurer. I am in your debt. As you have proven yourself to walk in the light, then perhaps I was wrong to deny your request. What exactly is this task you speak of? Then your quest is irrelevant, and to undertake it would be an intolerable waste of time. However, Stendar demands I show mercy. The gods clearly favor you, and your actions here should not go unrewarded. Very well. What is it you would have of me? Then you will have it, pilgrim. Walk always in the light.
All praise be to Mara. Death to those who turn away from her embrace. Maybe, but the two aren't mutually exclusive.
Они опять надо мной смеялись, Диния. Они просто не понимают.
I have come to pray
Мне так жаль, муж мой.
and ask for forgiveness.
Они приходят в пчелу
I
и
have
жало
killed
петь,
in Mara's
а не
name,
слушать проповеди.
slain those who have broken the sacred vow.
Я просто хочу показать
If
им,
I have
что в
erred in
жизни
doing
есть
so,
другие радости,
I
кроме
ask
чаши
Mara
с
for her
медом.
mercy.
Ты добрый человек, Марамал. Нам повезло, что ты заботишься о нас.
Possibly. Not every whisper comes from the Brotherhood's lips. Not all the Void's children pray to Sithis. Do you seek my services? First, one must speak a name. No. A name is spoken. Then a crime is named. If I deem your cause worthy, then I act. I have a code, like most. Many whisper the name of an abusive spouse, or a cheating one. They come to the temple and seek my ear. They pray to Mara, but they speak to me. Perhaps. But the temple cannot function without donations. Nor can I.
Они
Maybe I
опять надо
enjoy
мной
it.
смеялись, Диния.
Duty
Они
and
просто
love
не
are at
понимают.
times one and the
Мне
same.
так жаль, муж мой. Помни,
Откуда
они
ты родом?
приходят в пчелу и жало пить,
Here,
а не слушать
the
проповеди.
orphanage in Riften.
Да, да, я
Although
знаю.
rarely do I
Я
ever
просто
get a
хочу
chance to
показать
come
им,
home.
что в жизни есть другие радости, кроме чаши с медом.
Ты добрый человек, Марамал. Нам повезло, что ты заботишься о нас.
I'll consider it. But if it's passing out Dinya's letters, then rest assured. I already do. Some would say Mara would not condone such a quest. However, our meeting is proof that our mother isn't afraid to discipline her children. Understood. Mara, protect us both.
Я продаю чуди. Ясные безделу.
Have you ever hated someone so much you just wanted to bite off his eyes? That's when you know you hate a man. I mean really, really hate him. You can punch someone in the throat. You can even make them wear your dagger like a hat. But nothing is as raw and as pure as using your teeth. Then you don't know what it's like. You don't have the hate in your heart. Good for you. But that ain't me. Gabriel. Just saying his name makes me want to take a pair of hot pliers and twist off his nose. He's a snitch. Told the guards about the bandits I used to run with before he hired me. But even after I served my time, he's had to toss me in the dungeon on some trumped up charge. Now he's got the whole city thinking I'm some killer. And if you say something enough times, People start believing it's true. We used to be friends. I thought we were brothers. When he snitched to the god, we became something else. Of course they will. They damn to better. But not until I get my turn. He has a thing for one of the guards. She has a thing for me. But that ain't a good reason why. Because there ain't no good reason for what he's done. But what he's done, it's reason enough for what I'll do to him. I'm going to nail his hand to the table, and then bend back his thumbs until they pop right off. I'll press my elbow against his throat, get real close so he can smell the stink on my breath. And then I'll chew off his eyes like a couple of hard-boiled eggs. Is that so, cannibal? When I picture his eyes in my mouth, I'll have to savor the yolk then. That's all I can do at this point, picture it. Because if anyone ever lays a hand on him, they'll all blame me. As if the gods need a reason to beat down an Argonian. Of course, a little go-go always helps grease the wheels, and Gabriel's fingers are covered in grease. That I won't do. The docks are my home. Besides, I'll take 1,000 nights in the dungeons before I give him the pleasure. I'd nick off a section of his skin. Just a small piece. Enough to grip it between my finger and my thumb. Then I'd peel it off slowly, savoring every inch of his skin tearing off bone. Blessing? You mean like a priest? I don't know. I ain't what that push drinker says I am, but I ain't what you say either. Alright. I guess it couldn't hurt my reputation. People seeing me as a priest of bloody towels. Here, have it. You're bloody blessed.
Подайте монетку ветерану. Ну что вам стоит?